So again, thanks for having me here. I'm going to talk about the AI revolution in job search. My talk can be more short-term things. I've been looking a lot at this area. I used to work at LinkedIn. I've written books on job searching, multiple books on it. And I've been building a tool to help people with job interviews, which is one of the applications of AI. So I've looked a lot at this. I'm just going to share with you kind of the state of the market and some of the things that are going on there that could help you in the short term. So I'm going to go a little bit, what is the current job market right now? I'm going to talk about two applications of AI. I'm going to talk about AI in job search. I'm going to talk about AI in talent acquisition. So that's the recruiter side. I'm going to then share a couple takeaways and take some Q&A. Let's see. So here's a little bit about the current, and by the way, all the images are from DALL-E 3. So let's see. So current status of the job market, for those who aren't currently looking for a job or aren't very familiar with the process, for job search, you kind of go through job listings, you submit resumes, you do networking, you do job preparation. If you're a candidate, you apply online, you wait, you interview, you wait some more. So it's a lot. And then for companies, they have to post jobs, they source candidates, they review applications, they interview people, they onboard them. There's just a lot that they have to do there. They have to deal with referrals. Sometimes they have pressure to hire key roles, maybe roles open too long. Oh, I can't find the right person. Oh, I found the person, but they didn't pass the job interview. Oh, we found the person that didn't accept the offer. We have to negotiate the salary. We have to onboard them. It's a very laborious process, I would say. It's very manual, it's very human driven, can be very time consuming and really painful. So just a little context right now, I just looked recently, there's about 6 million unemployed people in the United States who are looking for work. Plus there's a lot of people who are employed who are also looking to switch jobs. So don't forget about those. And there are about 10 million job openings in the United States right now. And the average time to find a job is about 5 months for someone in kind of our white collar area. So that just gives you a little bit of context as to the job market. So I want to talk a little bit about tools now, how AI is playing in job search. Okay, so first of all, I want to say this is kind of it's an obvious idea to try to use AI for job search, and it's also a good idea because it is helpful. And there are a lot of different categories of tools to help people. One, just use ChatGPT. A lot of people just use ChatGPT. They share prompts with ChatGPT. It's quite good for many things, but there are specialized tools, job search assistants, AI-powered resume, cover letter, LinkedIn profile, writer, rewriter, optimizer. There's things for career guidance. There's chat bots and stuff for interview preparation. That's one area that I've been working in. So there's a lot of that. I do want to say that there's other things too that people can do. I don't want you to think it's just only AI tools, right? There's books, there's human beings that provide coaching, there's websites, organizations that can help you. So it's not just that. But there really, I believe, been kind of a Cambrian explosion, as people will say, in these AI tools to help job seekers recently. But also I'll say one more thing. It's not totally new. There have been tools like Big Interview that came out in 2013. So it's not totally new, but I think with the new ways to write AI apps that make it a lot easier, there's just a lot more of these tools. But the market is small, I'll say. It's very fragmented. I estimate it's well under $1 billion, probably not even half of that, in my opinion. And it's very limited by the ability of people to pay, because if you're selling to job seekers, right, a lot of them don't have ability to pay. Again, these tools can definitely help you. They can save a lot of time because a lot of the process of job seeking from the candidate perspective is administrative, right? It's paperwork. It's filling out documents, it's searching, it's applying. So a lot of that rote work can be automated. But I think a lot of it also is, there's this concept in job seeking, it's called like spray and pray, right? Where people just, apply to all these kind of jobs and just hope someone gets back to them. It does feel like you're doing something, like you're actually taking some action because you're in pain. It may not be the most effective thing. So I would say one thing here is that while these tools may automate and make it easier for you to apply and create all this paperwork, that's not how most jobs are filled in our industry. So if you work in the tech industry, where a lot of us work in, more than 50% of the jobs are filled in other ways. They're filled by referrals. They're filled by recruiters going and doing sourcing. And some companies only like 10%, 10, 20, 30% are filled by applying online. So while you can automate a lot of this stuff, it doesn't solve the whole picture. There's a lot of tools now in this area. So there's a website I like to go to. There's an AI for that. Maybe you've been there. I did a search there and as of yesterday in recruiting, there's 61 tools listed, 37 for resumes, 34 for cover letters, 27 plus for interview preparation, job search 15, and a whole lot more. And that site doesn't cover everything. If you go to Google and you do a search, AI tools for job seekers, you're going to get 28 million results. If you look just for AI resume generator, you're going to get 65 million results. So it's a staggering amount of that. In fact, one of the challenges, if you're a job seeker, is what tool even to use, because there are so many. And some of them are kind of dead tools. Some of them are, they're not very high quality. They weren't produced. They were produced quickly. There are some very nice professional ones, but I think it would be a challenge for job seeker to find the right tool there. But there's a lot you can do. So there's kind of some questions to consider from job seeker perspective. Okay. These tools can help you, but is the AI overstating your qualifications? Is the AI overfitting your resume, your experience, polishing it too much to try to get you in the door? Because if it helps you get the wrong job, that might not be good for you, right? You might not last in the job. You might not like it. So, you should be careful how you use these tools, not to kind of, kind of cheat the process too much, because that ultimately might not help you. Okay. And another thing is, what if everybody has a perfect resume, a perfect cover letter, a perfectly optimized LinkedIn profile? What's going to be there in the future, right? So those assets may not be that valuable going forward, I believe. Right now, I would recommend that people use these tools to get kind of a leg up. But ultimately, I don't know how useful those tools are going to be. And I think the human aspect, kind of some of the things that Natalia was talking about, knowing people, being nice to people, all these kind of human skills may become more valuable, because the collateral material can be very easy to make and very nice and specific. And, ChatGPT can write amazingly well and all that. So anyway, I think networking has become even more important as these documents perhaps become less important. Talk a little about AI in talent acquisition. So that's the other side of the coin, right? So most companies are already using AI to screen candidates, right? Everybody knows there's ATS systems, and you send in your resume and they do stuff and they search it. But there's a lot of other stuff that AI can do, talking with, recruiters. They also can use ChatGPT. A lot of them will use ChatGPT to okay, help me with a job description, help me with a query string for LinkedIn recruiters, stuff like that. You can use AI for sourcing. You can use AI to predict whether a candidate will be a good match, right? Wouldn't that be great? You have all these candidates you're trying to, filter through, and now predictively how good they are. AI to outreach to candidates. You get all these messages from recruiters, hey, are you interested? That can be automated. There's chat bots for candidate screenings. There's sites that'll send you, hey, record a video and send it to us, and then it'll grade it. Okay. There's tools to help do automated scheduling. Okay. That's very nice, because a lot of this stuff is, when can you meet? When can you meet with that person? A lot of that's being automated. And recruiters can even use this stuff to create like, branding for the company and stuff like, why should you want to work here? All that kind of stuff. You see this kind of talent strategy kind of documentation, even that can be done. The market for the talent acquisition side is larger because their companies actually have the ability to pay. So companies will spend like maybe, I think the global market for like ATS systems, applicant tracking systems, is like more than $2 billion. People pay for LinkedIn Recruiter, well more than $1 billion a year is spent on that. Job boards is like another 10 billion that's spent. Now, I think the market for AI tools for recruiters, like specific AI tools, is still emerging. I think it's also still less than $1 billion, but there's definitely some potential there because companies have ability to pay. And, a lot of these tools can be useful if you're looking at particularly useful, like skill-based jobs, right? If it's really like skill-based hiring, it's really good. If it's a more like human interaction, it's a little different. There are some legal and other considerations though with these tools that maybe not, just make sure everyone's aware of. So one is like recording conversations. A lot of these tools that HR departments and talent acquisition wants to use will record a conversation, right? So do you have consent? There's a lot of talk about bias in these algorithms. There have been tools released before, okay, go through these resumes and pick out candidates. Oh, but it always picks out the men, well, because, the hiring process was biased before. It always picks out people in certain things. So there can be a lot of bias in these hiring algorithms, which has to be accounted for. In fact, there's even a law in New York that became law in July. New York City's automated employment decision tool law, where companies have to show how their tools are, how they've controlled for bias, how they make decisions and stuff. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, so there is some legal concern and protection about just letting AIs pick people for jobs. There's another concern kind of, also from the recruiting side. People know that candidates have access to these tools. People know that candidates can create resumes and documents and all these kind of things with AI. So are they really talking to the person? Like, how much of the stuff that you're seeing is actually the human being? And how much is like, are you actually talking to ChatGPT? Okay, so that adds some confusion, right, in the signal, which makes it tough. And another thing is the more you automate this. So one thing when you talk with people in talent acquisition is they want to have a nice candidate experience, right? If you want someone to come to your company, you want to have a nice experience, you want them to be happy. Well, the more you automate this, the more you have robots and AIs talking to people. While it's well more efficient and scalable, it has the potential to really degrade the candidate experience and make it very impersonal. So, would you want to work at a company where your recruiter is an AI? Maybe not. Or maybe you're fine with it. Okay. So I want to share a couple takeaways. I think for candidates, I think there's a lot of new tools you can use. There's a lot of them. I'd recommend using them before everyone else does. Why not? But automation is not everything. So while you can automate, this kind of, again, this spray and pray approach, that's not the whole thing. I think networking, again, is very, very important. Other things are even more important. But sure, for that small section of jobs, you can automate that. I think for recruiters, definitely AI is going to make things more efficient because a lot of that process is very, labor intensive. They're sifting through lots of resumes and applications and people and searching for people and all that. So I think it's definitely going to make them more efficient. It's probably going to eliminate lots of parts of their job, which probably will mean there's less recruiters. Okay. Because if you make recruiters more efficient, that's great. But are we really going to be hiring a lot more people? Maybe not. If recruiters are twice as efficient, if you're going to be hiring the same or less people, you probably need less of them. And so you're seeing a lot of recruiters being laid off recently. And so I think that's a tough position to be a recruiter right now. But the one thing I think will be really important in recruiters is that kind of human element, right? Because that's probably one of the last things that, at the end of the day, you're hiring a person, right? So if you're hiring a person, you may want to have a person speak to them and judge them and, talk with them and all that. So to the extent positions require that human element, it'll be important. But to the extent, like Natalia, you're saying, it's like contractors. So the more it becomes more like a mercenary transaction, maybe that even would be more important, right? If I just need someone to do a specific task, they don't really care so much if they're a nice person. So anyway, so there's that I wanted to share. That's kind of my presentation. It's kind of a quick overview. Here's how you can reach out to me. I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn if you want. This is my project, Interview Igniter, if you want to check it out. It's one tool to help people prepare for job interviews. It uses AI and all that. But again, there are others, and I am happy to take any questions.